Hello, hello, hello. It's Tina from CNC Designs. Happy Magnolia Monday. Let me see if I can push it back a little bit. You guys look really close. Okay, because we're working on a big surface tonight and I want to make sure you're able to see me and my work surface well. How is everybody? We are broadcasting live tonight from two places. We are broadcasting from CNC Designs as well as from the Crafting Network. Hi Jen, how are you? Hi Tina, how are you? So tonight we're going to be making a door hanger. I have a couple of orders to fill. Hello Miss Patterson, my friend. Miss Patterson, look for a message from me. I have a little gift that I'm gonna offer to you for being such a loyal friend and follower. I definitely wanna invite you to my ornament class free of charge. So look for your invitation from me through Messenger. I hope everybody's doing well. Hope your weekend was great. Hope everybody's Thanksgiving was awesome. Mine was awesome. I still feel like I can't really see you guys. I'm sorry if I'm making some of you dizzy. Hello, Red Brick Home Crafts. So I've been busy this weekend with Thanksgiving and now filling in last minute Christmas orders. That typically is the way it goes. Business slows down until right around this time, and then I start getting everybody asking for things. So I have three door hangers that I have to fill this week. So I'm going to do this one with you guys live. I did one earlier on yesterday. I have another one probably later on in the week I'll do. And then we have the ornament class. So we've got a lot of good stuff going on. Hope everybody's doing well. So who gained some weight during Thanksgiving? Let me see if I can pull us up on the page. As always, if you see the red live button above my head, that means you have joined me live. Make sure you say hello to me in the comments so I can say hello back to you. If you do not see that red button, that means that you're catching me on replay. In either case, please be sure to say hello so that I can greet you properly. If this is your first time watching, please let me know that tonight so that I can welcome you to the CNC Designs family. I'm just looking for us so I can pull us up here on my computer so that I can see comments better. 1 second. Okay, I think I found us. And I think we are ready to rock and roll. Okay, here we are. Okay, we're all set now. So tonight we're going to be working on a big, what we call a onion surface. These are from Hobby Lobby. And I have a couple of them. I always buy a bunch of them every year. It's really a popular ornament for me. It's going to be a door hanger. As you can see, it's a really substantial piece. I have base coated both the front and the back with some red because this customer order wanted red. So I used Waverly's Crimson on this piece. So we've already got our surface covered. It's nice and dry. And we're going to be working with this awesome. This is my favorite Magnolia Christmas stencil of all the ones they've done. And it definitely is back again. We're making a repeat performance this season. This is our Merry Christmas stencil. It is beautiful. Let me show it to you. It's big. So it's a little bit of a challenge to work with, but it is absolutely gorgeous. I love all the detail in the stencil. So this is what we're going to be working with tonight for this order. And we're going to put this stencil onto this ornament that is now going to be our door knocker. we're going to be using some some Magnolia Brilliant White paste. So this is going to be red and white, and we're going to have some greenery, have some ornaments hanging down from it, and hopefully this will come out to be a really, really nice piece. So how is everybody? What's new? What's new? Anybody did any Black Friday and Cyber Monday Christmas shopping? I actually tried to spend some money this weekend, and believe it or not, I could not find anything. I went to 3 stores yesterday, and I was prepared to spend some money, but I didn't find anything that I liked. I went to Target, I went to At Home, I went to Target, At Home, and there's another one, Home something, and didn't find anything. And I also went to Marshall's. Didn't find much of anything. I think I bought some potpourri, might have bought a candle, but that's about it. No shopping for you, Miss Patterson? I am looking for a TV. My children have been clowning me, telling me my television in my living room is entirely too small. So I think I'm going to gift the family a new TV, maybe. Hi, Isla Jones. How are you? Happy holidays to you, my friend. So I'm just fuzzing this. I have used this stencil before. This stencil gets a lot of use from me. I get a lot of requests for this door hanger. So it definitely is one that does not get old in the Magnolia line. And I believe, yeah, Cyber Monday today is buy 2 stencils, get 1 free. So if you have been thinking about buying some Magnolia stencils, this is the time to do them. My suggestion to you would be to purchase 3 stencils that are the same price, because you get the 3rd one free. So I would want to purchase those larger stencils that are generally more expensive. Put 3 in your basket. You're going to get 1 of them for free. And that is a really good deal, because I think this stencil, I believe, runs for about $20-something. And these are reusable stencils, so they are well worth the money to me, because you can use them over and over again. This is probably my 3rd or 4th Christmas with this stencil. I do have another as a backup, just because it is a popular request for me. So I try to keep them in my stash. And I don't know, I may order another tonight, because I might be teaching a class, a group of people in the school with this particular stencil. I'm waiting for her to respond. If she chooses this, I'll probably order a couple more. But this is an amazing, amazing stencil. Kind of old world-ish, but depending on the colors you can use, it can be very modern, and it can be old world at the same time. So we have our stencil applied. Everywhere where you see red is where the letters are going to show up. All of that pretty, beautiful floral is going to show up in there, and that's all going to be white. I finally got my tree up. I'm definitely going to do a tour of the tree and show it to you guys. It came out so nice. I am so happy that my son convinced me to do that blue and white. It was definitely worth it. Although I had serious reservations, I can honestly say it came out beautiful. So here we are with our brilliant white paste. Oh, thank you for those hearts. I definitely need to order some more paste. I have not done that yet, and I may have to even use some ink tonight. This paste, it should last for this door hanger. Luckily, my next one is in our almond latte, so I don't have to worry about having enough white paste for that. So I'm just gonna put some paste down in certain areas. And I'm going to use our bigger squeegee in this case, simply because it covers more real estate and I don't have to do as many passes. So we just go over all of those areas where we see red, because that is where our stencil is going to lay. And remember, like I always tell you, you don't have to worry about making a mistake. It's just paint. If for some reason you make a mistake, something doesn't come out right, you paint over it, dry it off, and start again. That's the beauty of Magnolia. It really, really makes you look like this amazing artist. And the reality is the stencils do all the work. I got a chunk here that I don't want, so there we go. I'm getting down to the bottom of this container, so some of it is a little chunky there. Gotta avoid those pieces. Did I ever use the big handle squeegee? I haven't, Jen. I haven't. Is it still in the shop? I have a big chunky one, but it doesn't have a handle on it, and I don't like that one. If that one is a little too chunky for me. I don't recall seeing the handled one in the shop lately. So guys, we have some amazing deals coming up in Magnolia over these next couple of days. My advice to you would be to stick close to the page, to your, whoever your Magnolia representative is. Make sure you go and put all the things in the cart that you want. Because as the 12 days of Christmas roll by, let's say for example, it's a day when they're featuring accessories, you want to have your stuff in your cart so that you can be able to quickly make that purchase, because these days the sales usually go by really quick and they sell out of a lot of things, because these are the days that everybody waits for. I know I personally cannot wait for it, because there are a couple of things that I want, especially in the accessory window. I definitely need to get myself some more aprons. I want to get the Magnolia spritzer bottle. I love, love, love Magnolia scissors. In my opinion, you can never have too many of those. So I'll definitely be ordering some more of those if they go on sale. Hello, Michelle. How are you? Thank you for joining. So I'm just trying to pick up this excess. And let me just check and make sure we got no red showing anywhere. You don't want to go over and over the piece, because then you'll be pushing your paste up underneath your screen, and that could do some harm to your stencil. Once you've finished, as always, you just spritz it with a little bit of water, at least while you're live like me. And then when you get a chance, you go to the sink, run it under some cool water. That paste comes right off. Let it air dry, face up. Sticky side up, and this stencil will be ready to be loved on and used again and again and again for many Christmases to come. Okay, I think we've got almost all of our places. I have height challenges here, guys, so I gotta look at it this way to make sure I got no red showing, and I think we're good to go. Let me just sit this here. Good trick about this is lift up a little bit at a time. I do see a piece right there. Lift up a little at a time, so that if you did miss a spot, you can just lay your stencil back down and cover that spot that you missed. So you just want to take little peeks in the beginning. case you have to lay that back down, I'm gonna hit that S right there on the corner, a little more. I think we're good with that. It never ever gets old, guys. It is so beautiful. Time and time again, this stencil never disappoints. Let me just lay this down so that I can spritz it with some water. I just have a tin pan top here, and I just lay my stencil there and spritz it so that the paste can begin to release itself until I can get to my sink. And give it a nice good soaking so that by the time I get to the sink, most of the paste is really loose and ready to be washed off. Let's put that away. And I definitely got some paste on my hands. You always want to look at your hands when you're handling a piece like this, because you don't want to ruin all of that beautiful work that you've just done. Let's find my top. Here we go. Hi Yadi, how are you, my friend? Hello, Miss Mays. So here we go. This is what we have so far for our door knocker. As you can see, like I said, this is going to be a substantial piece on this owner's door. I hope she loves it. She requested the colors of red and white, so we're going to embellish that some, but that stencil is definitely the showstopper. I absolutely love it. I don't know, you'll see later when you see me post pictures, I may put a little bit more of the floral down here, because as I've always told you, you can take bits and pieces from the stencil. So I may take some of that floral and run it down here into the tail end. I'm not worried about up here because we're gonna have a greenery sprig, so that's gonna be covered. The only thing different is I just might run some of that floral down into the tail, or I may just take and kind of use some white paint and kind of paint down there. We'll see. So we're going to get a dry on here so that we can make our topper for this. And tonight we are going to be using some ribbons, we're going to be using some ornaments, and some greenery. Hi Cheryl, how are you? Thank you for watching. So with this, you don't want to rush to dry. You want to get a good dry on it, because we are going to be handling it as we start to put our greenery on and lay our ribbon down. I don't want to be lifting up any of the paste, so I want to make sure everything is nice and dry. Typically, you guys have, when you see me, you know I typically edge my pieces. I go around and I do something to make those edges pop. Not so sure that I'm going to do that tonight because it is a door knocker. So I don't know if I want to do that. I may just put in just a little bit of hints, splashes of gold in there, but not too much. We may do a little bit of splatters. Nice to see you as well, Yadi. Thank you so much. How was Thanksgiving, guys? Anybody eat anything or make anything that was non-traditional for Thanksgiving this year? We made traditional stuff. My son was excited because he got to take some mac and cheese back to school, which is always a request for him when he comes home for Thanksgiving. Mom, please make enough so I can take me a small pan back to school. Him and his dorm mates, they usually have like a Friendsgiving. Everybody brings leftovers from their mom's Thanksgiving, and they have Friendsgiving when they get back to the dorm. So his contribution is always mac and cheese. Okay, so I think we're good and dry. You ate traditional and forgot dessert. You know, I made a sweet potato pie. We didn't eat it. We ate so much food that I don't even think anybody wanted the pie, honestly. So here, let me let you get a look at this one more time. And again, we did finish the back. I usually sign, when I sell door knockers, I usually just sign my piece in the back. But it's nice and finished so that it looks very professionally done. So we're gonna sit this down here to the side while we concentrate on our bow and our greenery. Guys, I gotta move around. I'm sorry. My tree is like literally right next to me. So I can't put anything over here because literally my tree is there. So everything is over here to my left. So I have some ornaments here that we're gonna be using in this tree. Yes, I love that stencil. I was just saying it is my absolute favorite Magnolia Christmas stencil. Of all the ones that I've purchased so far, that one is my favorite. So let me show you the ribbons that we're gonna be using. Let's put this ornament here. We might use that ornament, not so sure. Maybe because it has the white in it. Got my jute string, and we have our bow dabber. Now, I am contemplating, I know I want to use this tartan. I like this pattern. It has the red in it, and then I have this red and white, kind of like a herringbone. And I was contemplating popping some green velvet in there. Not really sure just yet, because we definitely are also going to be using some greenery. So we're going to put our sprig together, our spray rather. In big pieces like this, when I have these little pieces, like this was a long garland that I had just been chopping off, and now I'm left with this. I'm thinking to use this whole sprig on the piece, and I probably will just cut this tail part off so that it doesn't look like it's literally the end of the garland. So definitely when you see these garlands, and I'm sure if there's any left after the season is over, definitely pick up some of those, because even if you don't use them as a garland, I always tell you, don't see it for what it is. Think about what it could be. And I rarely, if ever, buy a garland to use as a garland. I don't have a fireplace, so a lot of times I buy these garlands and I use the greenery to enhance my other pieces that I create. And especially ones with those long, pretty pine cones on them. Oh my goodness, I love those pine cones. So I'll grab those just for the pine cones alone, honestly. And it's much easier to, I think, well, not easier, but much more economical when you purchase it that way, to me, than buying sprigs like this. Because you get a lot more product when you buy the actual garland rather than these sprigs. So I'm just popping out a couple pieces. Not really sure if we're gonna use all of them, but just putting them down on the table so we can see what they might look like in the piece. And I also have this green and red, so not really sure which one, like I said, which we're going to be using as of yet, but we got a couple of options, which is always good. Girl must have options, right? Yeah, it's the best thing to do with greenery. If I buy a piece like this, it's because either this was the only one in the store and I couldn't find a whole garland like this, or I have gotten it on a really, really super low price. Excuse me once again, guys. I'm sorry. I need to get my trash bag. The perils of not having your own craft room. One day I'll have a craft room, and I won't be crafting in my living room, and I'll just be able to turn around and pull things off of a shelf. But in the meantime, this is what you get. So here is another piece, probably off of some garland that's left. I think we're done with this. We definitely don't want to put any more of that in there. It's a piece with an ornament. I don't know if I want to use the ornament. I might just take that off and see how. I like to use different styles of greenery in there because to me it just makes it look more realistic and not so fake, if you will. I love this. This looks very real to me, this type of garland. Whenever I see these, I don't care what time of year it is, I grab them. I love this greenery. It looks so amazing in all sorts of pieces. So definitely, if you see that, pick that up. And I like the fact that if you look at it, it has variations. That it's not all one color green, and that's what I think makes it look so realistic. So I think we've got enough out here now to start with. So let's see what we come up with. Okay. Now, I'm thinking, like I said, I want to possibly, you guys know I don't like anything dead center. So I try not to do that, even though sometimes the piece absolutely calls for it. So I'm thinking about doing a center swag that kind of drapes over on both sides, or having it go to one side. And this is literally how my mind works when I'm doing this. I just lay things down and I kind of let the piece dictate where it wants to fall, as opposed to trying to manipulate it and make it go a certain direction. So I'm thinking, let's see, if I do a swag that kind of goes left and right, what I try to do is what I try to do on the left side, I try to mirror on the right so that it doesn't look so off-centered. And then I want to see how the piece will fall again, because you know the greenery branches are they're gonna do their own thing, so you've got to allow for that. I think that's how you get the most authentic looking piece, when you allow those greenery pieces to kind of lay where they want to lay. And I know this is going to be a little bit of a challenge for you guys to see, because I got so much going on in this table tonight. But the other option is to kind of make a swag or a spray, if you will, and have it all just running where it wants to run. That's going to be too much in that case if we did that. So I would definitely have to remove some of that, but let's bring this piece in before we start picking that one apart and seeing how that might work. And yeah, guys, this piece has some glitter on it. You guys know I don't like glitter. Glitter's not my friend. So I'm thinking, this seems like it really wants to lean towards the right. If I put it over here on the left, it just doesn't feel natural for me. So I'm thinking probably I'll do something that will allow it to lean in the direction it wants to go, which is towards the right. So I think though I might have too much here, so I'm gonna pop a couple of these pieces off. And because we don't want to cover up all of the stencil. Now some of it is gonna be covered because that's just what the greenery is gonna do. But we don't want to cover the entire stencil. So we've got that. And let me see what this, I love this little piece here as well. I think it gives that color green also gives it some more of that natural look. As you can see how that looks like a really natural evergreen kind of bough. And it looks like it smells like Christmas. And that's kind of what I'm going for, if that makes sense to you. Hi Suzanne, how are you? Hello Pamela, how are you? Thank you for watching. So I'm gonna just tap that stem off, and you see I'm just gathering them all into my hand. And again, I keep going back to my piece to see where is this gonna fall. This is too big, so I don't think we'll need this piece tonight. I think we'll save that. As I said, I got another one that I know I have to do, so that might work with that. This piece already has one pine cone. I don't think we'll need two. So that's how we kind of just go through and eliminate some of the things that we've put up on the table. So I think this is probably going to be our sprig for tonight for this piece. Let's put these over here. Oh my goodness, the glitter, guys, the glitter. Some of my customers don't mind glitter. I spray my pieces. If you buy a piece that's got glitter on it from me, I try to spray it so that it doesn't get everywhere, just because I don't like it everywhere. Glitter is one of those things that, no matter how much you clean after Christmas, it'll be July and you'll still be finding glitter on your floor. So where I can avoid it, I definitely do. Okay, so I just tie mine off. You can use floral tape. I always have jute string around, so that's what I use. And our bow is gonna cover it, so you're not gonna see it. Don't worry about it. Let's get our magnolia scissors out. And I'm just gonna tie these pieces together. To hold them so that when we do place them onto our door hanger, they will all be kind of cemented together, and I don't have to worry about them coming apart. Thank you, Kimberly. Yeah, glitter is like the worst. I won't tell you guys what I call glitter on Mr. FB because they might censor me, but it is definitely not. And I think probably because when I was a kid, I've always been a crafter, and as a child, I love to use glitter on everything. So I'm probably glittered out at this point. That's another reason why I probably don't like it. Although I have seen some really amazing pieces. I've seen some creators use that chunky glitter in pieces, especially like those Stanley cups and things like that. It's just not my judge. I can't do it. You see, it's like, it's getting on my nerves. Thank God for these little table vacuums, because they do pick up glitter very well. If you don't have something like this, one of these, get yourself one of these. They sell them on Amazon. I think it's like $9 or $10. Definitely worth the price of admission. So now let's look at our bow. So we're gonna get us a nice piece of jute here. I like to double my jute when I'm doing bows, because if you guys have watched me, I kind of pull it really taut, and one time I pulled the whole bow apart while I was tying it together. So lesson learned there. And I think I'm gonna ground this with this herringbone first, and then we'll go back and layer and look, and layer and look. That's kind of what we do. And this ribbon is one-sided, even though it looks like it's two-sided. One definitely is more prominent than the other. So you always want to remember when you're working, especially with your bow dabber, to make sure you twist your ribbon so that the pretty side is always showing face up. And I am leaving some pretty substantial space there for my tails. I typically don't do that, but because this piece is so big, I'm not really sure how I want the tails to look. So I'm just gonna, tonight I am gonna probably leave longer tails than I typically do. Wired ribbon is the best thing to use when you're making bows for big pieces like this. Ribbon without wire is, you can use it, but it's much harder to work with. So make sure the bulk of your ribbon is wired ribbon. You just put your tree up here. Yep, that's it. Glitter, I tell you, it is, whew, my goodness, it's like one of those, that bad guest that doesn't know how to go home. That's glitter. When you're yarning, you're like, okay, you know, evening is over and they're just sitting there just yakking, and you're like, okay, when you going home? So this, guys, is, when I buy my ribbon, it all comes on rolls like this. I usually take it off the roll and I put them this way because that's just the easiest way for me to store it. And I store them in these little plastic totes that you've seen, like you put shoes in. They sell them in Dollar Tree, and that's how I store my ribbons. So I'm going to go in an up and down direction because I want my tails and my loops to probably not necessarily face all the same direction. I say that and then you'll probably see me twisting it so that it does face the same direction. But you know, that's creative license is what I call it. Not that I don't know what I'm doing and can't make up my mind. Hi Ashley, how are you? Thank you for joining. So again, this one is a little thinner than I like to work with, but I like the pattern, so I'm going to deal with her tonight. I don't like to deal with ribbon that's a little bit too kind of hairy and wiry. You guys laughing at me. So now we're gonna work with this green and red. It has some red in it, so I think it'll work. I thought about doing some red and white ribbon, but I felt like that would look a little too juvenile. These colors, bringing that green in, bringing that tartan in, makes it look a little more mature and less juvenile, in my opinion. So that's why I chose these ribbons and not one that had the red and white exclusively. And I am going in a little bit as I am piling my layers on. I'm making my loops a little bit smaller than the bottom set, not too much smaller, but just a little. And let me twist that over, and I'm going to leave us some space here. The other reason why I like to leave the space is because I like to take my tail sometimes and I like to do one of these numbers and just kind of scrunch them up. The wire in your ribbon allows it to lay that way. That's why I tell you my recommendation all the time is get wire ribbons because it is going to work wonders. This is going to be a pretty substantial bow. As we see, we have 3 layers already. And I think I'm going to do one more. Actually, I think I'll do a tartan first and then put that herringbone on top because it is more red and white and that is the dominant color scheme here. Yeah, this ribbon is pretty, but it is flimsy as all get out. Hello, Brenda. How are you? Thank you for watching. So you see, I'm just, as I'm going through, I'm just kind of fluffing up my loose just to see how this ribbon is going to fall, especially with this one because it is a little weak in my opinion. It doesn't have the heft on it that the others have. Good ribbon, but just a little weak. Like I would never put all ribbons like this in this bow because it just wouldn't fill in right for me, if that makes sense. So let's see, I think we might have enough of that tartan in there now. I typically buy my ribbons primarily from Craft Outlet, especially because I do make a lot of these door knockers and wreaths, and they are just cheaper at Craft Outlet. This one though, I did get from At Home just because I was in the store and I liked the color. And this one, I think, I wonder if did I get this one from At Home as well. I'm not sure. I know this is not a Craft Outlet ribbon. It might have come from At Home, but I typically buy my pieces from my ribbon from Craft Outlet because they have a huge variety. They almost any color you could ever possibly be looking for. I'm sure you can find it in Craft Outlet. It is, you can buy it online. That's I've never been to the store. They're out of state, definitely not in New York. But the shipping is pretty quick and the prices really are not that bad. I definitely like their prices better than Michael's. Michael's ribbon is atrocious in terms of the prices. And then, you know, they charge you like $12.99 for a roll of ribbon, and then all of a sudden they'll have a sale that's like buy one, get three free or some foolishness like that. That's how you know how much the ribbon should have originally been. Because if they could afford to offer you a deal like that, it should never have been $12.99 in the first place. I got this on the wrong side, so let me twist this so that the pretty side is up. Okay, I think we are here now. Let's see. Let's put this away over here. You can make a bow like this by hand. I used to, before I discovered a Bowdabra, I used to make bows like this by hand. And it's just a matter of doing the same thing you do with the Bowdabra, but the only thing is that you have to hold it in your hands. And as you, at least in my case, the more I do this, sometimes I feel like my hands get tired. So that's what I really like about this Bowdabra, is that it gives me, it's like the third hand that you need, but it's not always there. Yeah, Costco, they do have some nice ribbon. That's another place you want to check as the season winds down. You want to check Costco's, you want to check BJ's, because they usually have some nice ribbon there, and they don't typically sell out all of it. So sometimes you'll be lucky enough to find a really good selection still left after the holidays, so you can stock up for next season and not worry about having to pay those exorbitant prices. So that's what we have so far. I'm going to fluff it around some more. I do want to dovetail my ends, but let's get this with that swag piece and see what it is going to look like. We definitely need to dovetail those ends. Let's take some of those down. I'm not going to take it all the way down, but I am going to take some off for now. We may, as we get it onto the board, we'll probably take it down even further. So as you can see, I am taking quite a bit of it off, which is why I typically don't make my tails too long. I don't like to waste anything. You guys know that. I keep everything. I don't throw anything away. Some people might say I'm a hoarder. I'm a rescuer. Hello, Beth Edgman from The Crafty Edge. How are you, my friend? Guys, if you are not following Beth Edgman or any of my other crafty friends here who have pages, please go and give them a like and a follow. I have some very, very talented friends. I love their work. Beth is one of those creators that you want to watch because Beth comes up with stuff that will blow your mind, and it's so unique. Not the run-of-the-mill stuff you see all the time. So go over to The Crafty Edge and give Beth a like and a follow. And I believe my friend Yadi, I believe Yadi's page name is Yadi's Workshop. Yadi, if you're still there, drop your links. Beth, you can do the same. Please drop a link so that we know where to go find you. So yeah, I know you see my little jute string hanging there, but don't worry about that. That's not gonna be an issue. Our bow is tremendous. We might go this route. Let's see. I never, you know, you don't know what the piece is going to do. A big part of it for me, like I said, especially when you're dealing with pieces like this, is let the piece kind of fall where it wants to, and then you adjust accordingly. Because sometimes when you try to manipulate the ribbons and the greenery, it just doesn't work out, and it is much better when it just has a natural lay rather than trying to force it. I don't like to use too much glue, especially when, you know, it's a purchase piece, because I don't know if it's going to be out in the sun, and I don't want to sell somebody something and then the hot glue starts melting and pieces start falling off. Oh, you're welcome, Yadi. Thank you. So again, I'm just going in, I'm looking here. I don't think I have too much. What I do know is that we're going to adjust these tails again. So let's bring that down some more. And this time I think we're gonna take it down really short, because we do have some other things that I want to incorporate in this piece. So we're gonna have to look at how we do that without it becoming too overpowering. I do want to put some of those ornaments in there just because that is just another look rather than just having this door knocker with just the traditional, you know, greenery swag and ribbon bow. We all have seen that. I like to try and do something a little different. So as you can see, I definitely have chopped quite a bit of this ribbon off. Probably should have made the tails a little bit shorter, but you know, I make the mistake, so you don't have to. Definitely don't waste that much ribbon. It almost makes me sit here and I'm thinking, what could I have done with those little pieces? Nothing comes to mind yet, so it may actually wind up in the garbage. So I'm sorry guys, but I gotta turn this towards me so I can see here what I got working. And so kind of like that so far. This is a very difficult piece to create live because of the size of it. Always make sure when you are dovetailing that you cut on the right angle so that you don't wind up messing up your ribbon by cutting it the wrong way and it's not dovetailed. Okay, so now I just want to bring in my ornaments for a sec. You know this is out, it's too big. So that one is not gonna make the cut. I do like this one. So I'm thinking about putting that in there. And maybe this little one here can work as well. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna see if I can bring you down just a little bit more, so hopefully you can see some of what I'm doing here. So I have the swag sitting in the middle of that bow. What I am going to do, because we left those tails on that bow, is I'm going to secure all of this together. And try and keep that swag anchored to the bow while we look at applying those ornaments. I'm still not cutting those extra pieces off. So here's what we have so far. Let's turn on our glue gun. I wish for pieces like this, honestly, that they would come up with something a little bit stronger than hot glue. Something like a tight bond, but maybe that's clear like hot glue, simply because it would make me feel better if I would feel that it's more secure. Because like I said, in hot climates, hot glue, I don't care how much you use, if it's in direct sunlight, it is going to eventually come off. So I'm just looking to see where I'm gonna let that fall. And then let's bring this little ornament in. These ornaments, this actually was in my stash of ornaments that I already had, so I couldn't even tell you where it came from. I have tons and tons and tons of Christmas ornaments. Some colors are definitely more of some colors than others. I definitely have a ton of red, so I could spare these two and really not miss them, quite honestly. Now with your ornaments, you may, as you get your ribbon and swag placed, thank you, Beth, you may need to glue them depending on what you know how you want it to fall. Again, like I said, I believe in letting the piece kind of do its own thing and fall where it wants to fall. So I don't really try to manipulate it that much. I am gonna tie, I am gonna use this hole in the handle to tie this. Hello, Melissa, how are you? So that it's going to look kind of like this. I am loving this swag, and you see what I mean about your ribbon pieces, your tails. You see how that wire allows you to kind of scrunch them up. You don't have to really worry about cutting too much of it. You can just kind of just move it because the wire makes it so flexible. So I think we're gonna have to pop maybe a bell or acorn right up in there in the top, just because I want to make sure that none of that jute string is going to be showing. So we'll see. Now I just want to, and I should have ran a piece of string through this loop here, but I think I might be able to do it. Still, it may not be too late. I'm gonna get a fairly long piece because I want to anchor it well to the back. Let's see if I can get up under here. If not, then I'm gonna have to run it through my middle again, which wouldn't be terrible, but if I can get it under here, I would prefer to do that. So let's see. Let's see how I can, maybe I can use this Cricut tool, maybe, and hook it through. That's not gonna work, and I don't have a dollar needle here. Okay, guys. What do we have? We're working with 4 minutes. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it under here. Let's look at this way. I should have thought of that much earlier in the process. But I'm gonna see if I can run it through here, tuck it under my greenery, and kind of bring it around to the back is what I'm trying to do here. Okay. And so the other thing I could have done is you could use a cable tie. I don't have one here at the table, so we'll work with this. And I'm gonna stand up just so that I can see what's happening here as I'm trying to secure this to the piece. And I'm gonna bring this through my loops, and you see I'm gonna go back and forth a couple of times. I'm gonna try and get it to how I want it to lay. I'm gonna see where it looks best on this hanger. You guys gotta excuse me for a second while I try and get this. Okay. This ornament door knocker is very big, so you definitely need a lot of space in your work area while you're working on this piece. So now I'm going to bring this through and secure it, and then we'll manipulate it to exactly where we want it to lay after we get it secured on. One more shot, and then we should be able to tie this together. Let me just see how secure we are. I think we're pretty okay. I'll bring a little bit of hot glue back there and get that tightened up tidy. And okay, so here we go. So now we've got that there. Let me just look at it from the front and be sure that that's where I want this to be. Okay, so now I'm just gonna add some hot glue to just help it stabilize right up there where we attached it with that jute string. And I'm going to press that down. Be careful because the hot glue is hot and you don't want to get your fingers directly in there. You probably should have your spatula or something at the table, but I'll use this finger sander just to kind of press that down. It's stuck to the glue. Oh my goodness. I crack myself up sometime, guys. I think we got that. Definitely that side is pretty secure. I want to make sure that we're good on all sides. So you see, I like to use the jute string or a cable tie just because you don't have to use as much glue, and even if the glue started to lift on this, it's still secured to the piece, so it's not going to fall and hit the ground. And that's your biggest concern, especially when somebody buys something from you. You don't want the elements to kind of make your piece start to fall apart. So I'm going to just go back in and manipulate some of these loops again. Okay, gonna fluff those loops out. And again, like I said, that wire is your friend. Use it to your advantage to really get those pieces to lay nicely. Move them up and kind of out of the way from your wording so that it's not obstructing your stencil. I still feel like I need another pine cone there in that middle. I'm sorry about the moving up and down, guys, but this piece is really big, so it's kind of hard to get it in the shot that's good for you. But this is what we have. What do you guys think? Do you like this? I like it. I like it a lot. I think it's gonna look outstanding on her door. I think I am gonna put another pine cone there because I see that space. To someone else, it may not bother them, but it's bothering me. So I'm gonna put another pine cone in there. I'm gonna just kind of cut that jute now that we've got this in place. And I'm gonna show you, this is what we have from the back. So even though we tied it with that jute, you see it's very neat, very tidy. Doesn't look haphazardly placed on there. It looks really, really good. And I think that she's gonna be very, very pleased with this for her door. So this is for one customer. I'm gonna show you another one that I did earlier, and then I'll let you guys go. So that's one customer, and this is her sister's piece. Same stencil. And then I love to show you guys these types of things because I want to show you the versatility of Magnolia stencils. They are not one and done. They are reusable. This is the same stencil, different colors, and two totally different looks, equally as beautiful. So you have the more neutral tones here, and then you have your traditional red and green. Beautiful, beautiful work. Same stencil in both instances, except she wanted a more muted neutral tone. This one wanted the red and white. So get yourself some Magnolia stencils. Like I said, until tonight, until midnight, you can buy 2, get 1 free. So if you like what you see, if you like this stencil, definitely go in there, get yourself 1, buy 2 that are the same price. You'll put 3 in your cart, make sure they're all 3 the same price. Get the 3rd one free. They make a nice gift, even if you don't want to keep all 3. Maybe you don't find 3 that you like that are the same size. Get them, keep 1 for yourself, give 1 to a friend, crafty girlfriend. They have I think all the stencils are on sale. So go to the site, look and see what you can find. I'll put the link to this stencil in the comments. And I will be back on, like I said, Thursday is our class. Some of you look for me to send you some messages to invite you to the class. Some of my loyal and faithful followers, I will be extending an invitation for you to come to the ornament class for free of charge. This is a paid class. So if you're interested in learning how to make those ornaments that I have been showing, please come and check us out. And I will be in that class on Thursday live, Thursday night, as well as then again on Friday we'll make another piece. Until then, I will see you all. You guys have a blessed night. Have a wonderful Tuesday, and I will see you soon. Take care, be well, be good to yourself, and be good to others. Here are some hearts. From my heart to yours always. Take care. God bless everybody. Bye-bye.